Welcome to the Man United Agenda. It's Omundi Juma with SHAH and Pat, and we are going to discuss 3 points in the Europa League. Hi everyone, how's everyone doing? We got 3 points. We're back. Wasn't the best opposition, but we are here to discuss this game. Looks like an exciting game. Those who watched it, if you didn't watch it, you'd probably think, wow, that's a tough game, but I think we're in control. Want to say hi to SHAH. How you doing, SHAH? You got your woolly hat on. Is it cold in Brum?
Definitely was. It's, cold shivers in the first half made me put my hat on, to keep my heart warm for our club.
Because we went 1-0 down, didn't we? I mean, that was shocking. Pat, how you doing, man? You look nice and calm after what seems like a bit of a rocky game.
I'm not bad, lads. I'm just delighted that we bet the Cyprus Super Cup champions from 2021 today, 3-2. It was a tough game, but we made it through in the end.
Big time. All right, first thing we're going to talk about is the lineup and any surprises. So we're going to line up with De Gea in goal. We had the usual defence, which is the usual suspects, which would be Dalot, Lindelof, who's just replaced Maguire, and Varane, who they're both out, and Martinez. And left back was Malacia. Midfield was Casemiro, Eriksen, and Bruno. Up front, up top, forwards were Sancho, Anthony, and Ronaldo started. So I'm going to come to you, SHAH. What do you think about the use of the squad today? Were you expecting more changes, maybe more sort of fringe players coming in?
Yeah, for me, I would like to have seen Garnacho really get given an opportunity. I think this kind of a game, it would have been a good game for him to learn. Obviously, they're getting included into the travelling squad. I would have liked to see maybe the problem that we've got with Eriksen getting a bit of a rest is that we've got no one else that passes the ball as good as him in the squad in that particular position. So unfortunately, Eriksen sacrificed. But we could have maybe seen something like Scott start as well, just to get him, ready for the game on Sunday, because I think Scott will probably be a lot fairer in that position, in that CDM kind of position for us on Sunday. So I would have liked to see Garnacho and Scott come in, actually.
So don't you think Casemiro deserved a bit of game time there?
I think Casemiro definitely needed some game time, 100%. I think with where he is, though, and then trying to create something new in a game that on paper looks like we should have walked it, but obviously the results show something different, and the game that we all just watched was a little bit unexpected, I suppose, for us to have to claw it back. I think Casemiro, the few cameos that he's shown, he's still probably not quite as sharp as we want him to be. So definitely, obviously, game time is going to be important. But I think games like this, where you got Scott and Eriksen's partnership working really well, but also Scott feeding in, I think it would have been a shame that we didn't see him today, and it really was. And same with Garnacho. I would have loved to have seen him start.
Mr. B is saying here, Garnacho should not be starting any game. United need to win. I thought it was weak opposition today. So they could have been like Wan-Bissaka, for example. Luke Shaw could have started. There's a number of fringe players that could have actually come off, started the game for us. So overall, were you happy with the starting lineup? I mean, SHAH, you all right with that?
Yeah, I think we've got a lot of players that need game time, especially if we want to be competing in this long season. And obviously, over this next 4-week period, we've got quite a few games. So these players definitely needed the game time just in case we do get any other problems or issues.
Okay, fair enough. Gavin Ward just saying here, Wan-Bissaka, for example, he thinks he would have surprised us if he would have got a bit of game time today. Over to you, Pat.
Wan-Bissaka is injured, lads. Just let you know.
Okay, so Pat, with the team lineup and any surprises, I mean, what was crucial for you today? What did you notice?
Okay, so with the starting lineup today, I kind of expected it, but was kind of shocked at the same time. I didn't think he was going to play such a strong team, but he's obviously proven that he's out to win every single game, as he has said in each press conference. So we'll take the man for his word. I thought today would have been a prime example for Fred to get a start with Casemiro. I thought that would have been a nice time to see the two of them together. So it doesn't speak volumes about Fred at the moment if he's playing Eriksen every single game and he's not giving Fred a chance, even in the Europa Cup. So, yeah, that was probably the biggest shock for me, was seeing Eriksen start. The rest of it, look, I would have liked to see the likes of Alanga playing. I would have liked to see probably Sancho dropped. But look, he wants to win the games. That's it. The biggest thing for me today, I enjoyed in the game, probably would have been the reason why Fred didn't get a game either, was because he played Casemiro as a single pivot. And you could see him when he was sitting in the rest defence. He's sitting in the middle of just in front of the two lads, centre halves, and he's dishing the ball out the left to right, mainly to Malacia and Dalot. So that's obviously what's the game plan today. So Fred, I don't know, was he surplus of requirements to this new kind of formation, or the way he had the Man United team set up today? I don't know. Lads, give me your opinions in the comments there. Let me know what you think there. Would Fred... Like, I thought Fred probably plays better further up the field. So this might have been a good game for him to be in there. But in fairness, he didn't get too much of a chance towards the end of the game to show his worth. So we can't slag poor old Fred off on that. So I'll take Fred out of my mouth to keep our boss man Solo happy. So, look, I thought the starting lineup was good. Casemiro today was excellent for me. I really enjoyed him in there. And it's a good sign of things to come with him.
So this single pivot role, I mean, it's something that we're not really used to, because he's been playing a two-man midfield block of Eriksen and McTominay majority of the time. So it's a change, isn't it? It's like one deeper guy and two guys further forward against a weak opposition. So it was an opportunity for it to work. And overall, guys, do you think the single pivot worked with Casemiro in there? Did he look comfortable?
I think he did. And it just gives me more questions that I kind of want answers for. So, did he play Casemiro as a single pivot on his own tonight because it was a weaker team? It didn't look that way towards the end of the second half, calling him a weaker team. But did he go with the single pivot because of that? Or is he playing the double pivot with McTominay and Eriksen for a reason? I don't think so. But I'm just kind of throwing fuel to the fire here and asking more questions. That's all.
And SHAH, do you think, like, with a single pivot and then having Eriksen and Bruno as two, maybe eights, do you think it would help against a 5-3-2 low block, which they kind of set up with today, our opponents, to have that bit of creativity there?
I would love to see Bruno excel in that 8-8 position alongside Eriksen, having them two as an 8. Like, personally, I just think that sometimes Bruno's impatience and maybe, like, literally he just forces the pass too quickly sometimes without just thinking about it. I think if you just take a breath, then pass, I think it will be a lot more clinical. Some of the passing that we've seen from Bruno over these last 2 seasons have been reasons why we've been counter-attacked on and giving the ball away. I think we know that Bruno's got a pass in him. We know that he's got vision. We know that we can get that. We just need to get that out of him more consistently and more clinically. If you look at someone like Modric and Kroos, for example, they're kind of like a perfect example of what 2 8s look like on a pitch for me.
So we need players with vision and can sort of map things out on the pitch. Speaking about that, let's just go to our sponsors here. Yes, we got a sponsor, finally, the Man United Agenda. We are that much loved and respected. It's GMS, Global Mapping Surveys. And Global Mapping Surveys, we are now sponsored by them. Their mapping surveys consist of architects, property developers, construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services, such as setting out topographical surveys. Sorry, I'm not in this industry. And 3D laser scanning monitoring. The link is in the description for the website and the contact details. So big up to GMS in cooperation with the Man United Agenda. There's a couple of comments I want to come to, guys, before we move on. I'm just going to read them out quickly. Football vs. Cancer says, Father's Christmas can have a top 4 finish in FA Cup this year. Let's see what it gives you. You've got to be a good boy. Football vs. Cancer. Mr. B saying the fringe players had their chance against Sociedad and blew it. That's pretty, that was a pretty true comment. Gavin Ward saying, what I noticed, it was confirmed that Bruno can't pass for toffee, as you were saying, SHAH. Fred is better off staying on the bench as HG Gamer. Box is saying that was a slog. Bloody hell. Gavin Ward saying, question for you, lads. You want to answer this quickly? Do you think Eric Ten Hag's tactics are too complex for the players at the moment? Shah, very quick. Let's just...
Yeah, for me, I think there's a lot of learning these lads are doing right now. A lot of learning. I think the fact that they've had the lack of this football kind of mentality and this understanding over the last 18 months has shown really how much of a gap we are. The game on Sunday proved the difference between the two squads, personally.
Okay. Shah, do you want to tackle that one from Gavin Ward, Pat?
Question for you, lads. Do you think Eric Ten Hag are too complex for the player at the moment? Do I think they're too complicated? I don't know. I'm not a professional footballer. Do I think it takes professional footballers time to adjust to a system? Yes. It's going to take a minimum of 6 months to a year for the whole team as a unit to be able to play together. So it has to be complicated. If it's not complicated, you're not going to be the best out there. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it. I remember listening to an interview from Savvy talking to Frankie de Jong, and Frankie de Jong was questioning whether he was good enough to play for Barcelona because of the drills, the tactics, the possession-based football you were playing. And Frankie de Jong had to learn it. And lo and behold, here he is playing football with Barcelona because he gets stuck in, keeps his head down, and keeps going. This is exactly what Manchester United players are going to have to do at the moment. And there's one or two players I think are lacking out at the moment. But we'll get into that now in a minute.
Okay, so Baffy Bassett, thank you so much for the donation. He said fantastic character shown by the players to come back and win, especially after Sunday's results. So, yeah, we have to big up regardless of the opposition. And finally, Mr. B saying 3 months Eric Ten Hag's been here. It's going to take some time. I agree with all you guys there. Pat, do you just want to answer what a topographical is again, please, Pat?
If I answer that question, he's going to have me doing that every night because I've done it last night as well. Get the boat.
All right, guys, next thing we talk about Ronaldo. Is he off the pace? Before we go into sort of more detail, just want to say big up to you guys. Make sure you press the like and subscribe button, and hopefully all you guys watch the game so you can contribute to this conversation. I'm going to come to you, Shah. So what do you think about Ronaldo today? Is he off the pace? That's the question I'm asking you guys, because he had a lot of, he's really put out there, opportunity to score against a weaker opposition today, and he didn't get the goal. But what do you think about his performance? Are you happy with him? You're going to be positive about Ronaldo?
He didn't stop trying. He is off the pace. He knows what he's got to do. When you become that mature in your game of football, you wake up and you know what your job is. You know what you've got to do. The only thing that he didn't do was his job by putting it in the back of the net and getting a goal, really, today. But he created an assist. There was moments when he was dragging players away, especially when Rashford came on and Martial. I really did like. I think Ronaldo connects better with those players than he did with Sancho and Anthony. Personally, I think there's a lot better pace and dynamic play when Rashford plays with Ronaldo and again with Martial. When I see if you compare the first half to the second half, and you could just see we were obviously opening them up, but the only thing that Ronaldo really did was kind of create assist, and he was taking players away for Rashford to open up the space for him to score goals. Because Ronaldo's a player, when you're playing against an opposition like that, they're going to have 2, maybe even 3 players, a wing back on either side, covering those players to make sure that he doesn't get a shot off inside the box, because everyone does know how clinical he can be. But also, I think 90 minutes, good run out for him, and he needed it.
Yeah, I agree. Just to go through it, so I saw in the first half when I had a good shot on target, which is keeping, got down low, made a brilliant save, and that could have been his opening goal, and the game could have been a lot different. After that, maybe he was sort of reaching and trying hard to create things. Maybe he might have felt he was a bit isolated, but at the end of the game, there was about 4 or 5 times where he could have scored or had an assist. He did lay on an assist with some good movement, but he was really struggling. He's really trying to force it, I felt. So big up to Ronaldo. He tried his best out there, but after the week he's had, where there's been rumours that he might be leaving in January, I was surprised that he started. And when Martial and Rashford came on, they looked sharper than Ronaldo. Wow. Pat, what's your thoughts on Ronaldo and anyone else you think's off the pace right now?
say Ronaldo's off the pace or is he off the pace? I wouldn't like to just criticize Ronaldo in the first half. I thought the whole team going forward looked off the pace. We made it hard for ourselves. We did look like we wanted to kill the game off. It felt a little bit like the first 40 minutes of the last season with Ralph Rangnick and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, where we were trying to score. We couldn't handle the low block, and then we let them back into the game in the last 10 minutes of it, the last 5 minutes of the first half, and it done me head in. I started getting annoyed towards the end of the first half. Did I think Ronaldo tried? Yes. Did he look dynamic when he was taking his free kick? He looked great when he stood up, and I got a bit excited until he kicked it. He did look a bit off the pace. He looked like he wasn't. He looked like he hadn't got that yard of pace. He looked like he wasn't fit, but that was mainly towards the end of it. But he looks like his head is not fully there either. He's trying too hard. It looked like to me towards the end of the game, Martial, Rashford were going out of their way to try to pass the ball back into the box to give him an opportunity to score.
Yeah.
And he wasn't dynamic. He wasn't getting this. It wasn't working for him. And as we say in Ireland, God loves a trier. And he tried today, but it didn't come off for him. So, look, I'd like to think that if he gets a goal or two, he'll get his chin up and he'll be a bit better. But at the moment, it's just not going Ronaldo's way.
I think it's promising, isn't it, when you see Ronaldo, like Rashford and other teammates trying to set him up and speed him, for that goal. They all realise that once he gets that goal, maybe it will benefit the team. So it's really good. So when they talk about teamwork, team harmony and that kind of thing, that makes me feel good to see that they're trying to tee him up for goals. Do you want to go to a few comments here? Football First Cancer saying, if the players are finding a mixed block counter too complicated, then we're in trouble. HG Gamer said, Ronaldo got an assist. So there we go. So he did get an assist. Emma saying, you can tell the other players tried to get him in on goal in the second half, especially towards the end, but he had an okay game, even if he didn't score, like Shah was saying. Bath Time saying, did you see this second came from a messed up third man run? The second goal. There you go. Box is saying, I'm not sure about Sancho. He's not adapting. Do you want to touch on that, please?
Yeah, so that was one of the players, Box, to be honest with you, I wanted to talk about earlier on. I don't know what to make of Sancho at the moment. I don't think it's lack of effort. It feels like between watching himself and Anthony, they're not bad players. But what it feels like Sancho, myself and Rebel had discussions during the day, so I didn't come up with this all by myself. So this is between myself and Rebel. So what we were talking about was we were saying that Sancho came in here and he had Ollie and he had Ralph, and he had two different types of systems. And he was already playing. He'd already been playing Dortmund style. He came into Ollie style. He came into Ralph style. Now he's coming into Eric style. So he has a big concoction of football in his head of what style he's meant to be playing. And now he's currently learning the Eric Ten Hag style. So I think a couple of players are going to fall victim to learning the Eric Ten Hag style. And I kind of feel that Sancho may be one of them at the moment. And maybe Anthony is a little bit slow to get used to the style. Even though he played with him in Ajax before, it's different in a different country, in a different league, and different players. So I think Sancho and Anthony are in a little bit of an adaptation stage where they're not bad players. It's not a lack of effort, but it's just not coming off for them at the moment. And in time, they will adapt and they will get better. We will just have to be patient.
HD Gaming saying Rashford, Ronaldo, Anthony, and Martial playing in behind them will make a difference. Bath Time saying Ronaldo looked like someone's dad. You're trying to get to score in a preseason game towards the end. That's funny. Gavin was saying, do you think it's a good shout to play Ronaldo as number 10 if he's off the pace goals wise? That's a good, interesting one, actually. Bath Time saying, I don't know about Sancho working hard enough. That's 2 games in a row. He's not shown the determination to get back, and it's contributed to us shipping the goal. So there you go. You're right about Sancho. There, anything you want to touch on in the comments there, Shah, quickly before we move on?
No, you guys covered it. It's cool.
Okay, so next one is Impact Subs.
Sorry, just before we do it, there was a good one from Gavin Ward there, right? And I was thinking about this during the game myself, and I'm looking at it going, if Ronaldo doesn't play well, where can we play him on the pitch, right? And there Gavin Ward came in and says, do you think it's a good shout to play Ronaldo at the number 10 position if he's off the pace for goals was? Get your opinion on that, lads.
I think, look, at the top end of the pitch, you need to have pace to get away from players. Look at Rashford today. He had the pace from a long ball to get in behind the players. I think if Ronaldo's lacking that, then maybe he has to come a little bit deeper and be creative and be that sort of drawing away from like a false nine, like some HG game is saying here, draw away from defenders, peel off defenders. You need to adapt, use his brain to where he's lacking in physicality, sprinting or that kind of thing. Use his brain to sort of adapt a little bit. And he's still got qualities, hasn't he? And just become a bit of like a Messi. Messi, you see, has sort of dropped a little deeper and become the playmaker and getting more assists. So maybe Ronaldo can start considering that. I don't know what you think, Shah, but we're going to go on to impact subs. Okay, going to impact subs. So obviously we were 1-0 down in the first half. We were all over them, but they broke with a goal. We can talk about the goal briefly. It was a long ball. We were playing the ball out, and Sancho passed to Malacia, couldn't get out of his feet. He was pinched. They broke. They scored. Even though players were trying to get back, we were completely out of shape there. And they went 1-0 up, and then we continued to grind it. Then we got back, made a few impact subs at half time, for example. We got Shaw came on, and who else came on at half time?
Marcus Rashford came on. Marcus Rashford came on with Luke Shaw.
Okay, so there we go. Impact subs. Shah, I think you're going to touch on a couple of players here for the impact subs. What do you think about Rashford, for example, coming on?
Rashford I think we've got that old Rashford back, confident. He's up for the game. He looks fit, pacey, sharp, wants the ball, the desire. The game before, where I mentioned, our conversation where I said to you, I just want to see that little bit more for Rashford, the challenging, the bit holding the player off, holding that ball up a little bit more and bringing players in, making the play work around you. And he done that again today when he came on. I think having someone like Rashford in your armory with that pace and playing in our position that's gonna probably let you run at them a little bit more, right? We're not playing City here, for example, but Rashford's pace in this situation is going to be a win-win situation. And yeah, very happy with him in particular.
And we're talking about impact subs, but a man came off today in Bruno Fernandes. Someone who's been getting pelters late. Do you want to touch on that, Shah? Because I think you've got a few thoughts about that.
I think with Bruno, there's times in games like this where we see opportunity after opportunity just being led astray, decision-making being not controlled, the mentality, having a bit of controlling your emotion is something that he doesn't do that well. He's shouting in referees' ears. He's obviously shouting at other players. Last week, you hear about him arguing in the tunnel and stuff like this. And this is all boiling down to frustration. The frustration elements that he shows in his game are actually hampering him and ruining his kind of football qualities. So I think the fact that he came off and we had such a positive impact just showed the direction of what was actually happening once the right players kind of came on.
Okay. I'm going to come to you, Pat, because there are two players I want you to cover now. We're talking about impact subs. Martial, for example. I mean, last against City came on and got a brace straight away. And then we got Shaw as well. There's discussion in the comments about Shaw and Man City.
I'd like to talk about Shaw for us because I get excited about Martial. Luke Shaw came on for Torre Malacia. I think it could be down to Eric Ten Hag, maybe protecting him a little bit because he kind of got outclassed in the Man City game. Let's be honest, okay? Big step up for him, coming from Foreign North, coming to play for Manchester United, surrounded by giants and ginger hair wizards, and he's going, what do I do here? Right? He comes on today. He's at fault for the goal. Look, he's a young lad. He's learning his trade. Maybe he got into the side on the back of enthusiasm and great attitude, but maybe he just needs to be probably protected a little bit now and bring Luke Shaw back in as a senior player and just start introducing him back into the side a little bit more, build him up a little bit more behind the scenes, play him in the lesser games. Nobody's saying he's a bad player here. Maybe he just needs to be protected a little bit because he's such a young lad, only coming here on his fourth season. Anthony Martial,
expensive teenager on that note. At the time.
Yeah. But Anthony Martial, I'm telling you, lads, he just brings a different dynamic to the team straight away. All of a sudden, we just turn into a team like a pinball wizard, and the ball just starts moving around the pitch. It moves fluent. It just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what he's doing. I think it's maybe just I'm getting excited when he comes onto the pitch, but he's changing us every time he comes onto the pitch. Anthony Martial.
Okay. Brilliant. Just go through a couple of comments before we sort of wind it up here. There was a discussion here. Boxers saying Vaughan Shaw at the moment offers more going forward. Hopefully he's sharp defensively. So that was a discussion that you just touched on, Pat. Gavin Ward saying Martial and Rashi definitely got to start next game. Talking about impact, they do have an impact right now. Rashford's got that flash speed back, says HD Gamer. So Bath Time saying, cheers, Box. I was a bit biased, as I said it a few weeks ago. Just wanted to check with someone sensible. He was asking about the left-back situation. Eriksen is a cleaner, more efficient player than Bruno, says Box. But you're shaking your head there, or nodding in agreement, Shah. Emma's saying, been saying this for time, Bruno needs to calm the F down. Eriksen sold out Lindelof for the second goal. Yeah, Lindelof was in a sort of dodgy position, and Eriksen, we couldn't play out, could we? We struggled to play out there. Eriksen likes selling out his defenders, says Box again. And want to say hi to Rich Sports. I'm sure you're going to cover this game later. Go and tune into Rich Sports. Yeah, good to see Rashford banking another couple of goals. And we're going to, wind it up now. Man of the match, guys. Who's your man of the match? I'm going to start with you, Shah. Who do you think played well today? And any sort of specific moment in the game where you thought we're seeing some good development?
So first off, man of the match, Rashford. I think he came on, he changed the attacking line to be more positive. The midfield were more positive. Obviously scored a couple of goals. And one of the other reasons why is I like seeing Rashford back at his almost best. I think we're going to see a different Rashford, a more mature Rashford this year than we've ever seen. And I like seeing that on the pitch. I like some of his decision making was a lot better. I think the specific moments is that our defensive elements are just awful. We need to get this sorted out as soon as possible, because we can't be conceding 2 goals on average every game. At the moment, this is the only league that we've got a plus goal difference in.
Out of 2. All right, coming to you, Pat. Man of the match, and any sort of standout moments for you during the game?
Man of the match is the man of the moment for me is Martinez. He was absolutely fantastic tonight. The difference between himself and Victor Lindelof is night and day. And it just proves that Victor Lindelof is not a big game player, and we wouldn't be able to trust him, especially for the fault he made for the last goal. So what I'd say about Martinez is, I remember when we first started looking at him when he was playing for Ajax, and we were talking about him in the transfer window, and I said, geez, something about this lad. He plays something out the true balls, and he's classy at it, and he's very good at it. So if you can bring that to United, I'll be happy about it. And this evening, just one of them, for example, the true ball he played through for Rashford's goal in the 62nd minute. Fantastic. If he can keep doing that, bringing the ball forward, playing it through, like he cut that whole team in half just by himself. And if this is what we're getting from Martinez as he's improving, I can't wait to see him as the finished package towards the end of the season, start the next year.
Okay, brilliant stuff. I agree with you, both of you. I think Marcus Rashford gave us a dynamic sort of impact coming off the bench. Really stretched them with his pace and playing off the left as well, where I think it truly is his best position. And also, Martinez was immense today. He was, without him there, we would be lost. Some of his balls pinging into feet, like breaking lines, were really impactful again. So I'm really happy with those two. Moving on to Everton this week, I'm sort of kind of confident after that. I just think we've got to get back on our roll and start winning 5 games in a row again. Once again, just want to say big up to GMS, Global Mapping Surveys. We're now sponsored by them. It consists of architects, property developments, construction companies all over the country. They offer a wide range of services such as setting out topographical surveys, 3D laser scanning, monitoring. The link is in the description for the website and contact details. So make sure you check out GMS. As for that, we're finished for today. We'll be back at 8:30 tomorrow for a preview of the weekend game against Everton. Don't forget, BT Sports are covering the Man United agenda again. They're coming to our living room, and Pat will be over all the way from Ireland. So big up, Pat. Get on your train ticket. I'm going to get you your quilt, your favorite quilt out so you can sleep on my sofa again. Shah, thank you very much. We're signing out. Thanks to everyone in the comments. And glory, Man United. We're back. We've got to win. And let's go and beat Everton again. See you later, guys.